Okay, so today we are going to start from here, the technical particulars of circuit breaker, what it actually means. Uh, when you are a manufacturer, when you are a consumer, in both end, you want to use some appliances, especially electrical appliances, you need to understand some specifications, okay? Because without specifications, it will be completely unwise to use any specific devices or appliances, or similarly vice versa. Without any specific information, it will not be wise for a manufacturer to serve those appliances to the market so that people can consume it, right? Both ways. Now, what is the need of that things? The main things is that this is being done for the safety of the appliances itself. For example, I can give you an example like this. A ceiling fan, which is normally rated about 230 to 250 volt, okay? The frequency range is generally manufactured for Bangladesh is 50 hertz. There will be also some current rating, okay? Now, if I want to connect this fan, ceiling fan to 11 kV line, what will happen? Do you have any idea what will happen? Anybody? Have you got my point? Have you got it or not? What I'm trying to make you understand?
স্যার বুঝি নাই স্যার।
Suppose a ceiling fan, all right? A ceiling fan is normally looks like this, isn't it? So it is rated like this, that rated voltage. For example, 250 volt. Rated frequency is equals to 50 hertz, all right? These have been rated. My question is, these are actually been rated for a very specific reason. Now, if this rating was not given to you, though the fan was manufactured for 250 volt, and if this rating was not given to you, now you want to connect this fan to a 11 kV system. So what would happen to the fan? Could the fan survive? It could not.
Depends, sir.
It depends. Depends on what? Depends on what? Now, why this rating has been given to you? These ratings are given to you for the safety of the appliances itself. All right. Whenever it is said 250 volt, that means the maximum voltage you should apply is 250 volt or below. All right. When it is said frequency 50 hertz, that means the maximum or applicable frequency 50 hertz, not more than that. Because like this, if you supply this fan with the 11 kV system voltage, obviously the single phase voltage will be a little bit lower than 11 kV, that we can agree, but it will be still more than 5K, 6K, 7K. All right. So this high amount of voltage is much greater than this 250 volt, isn't it? So the structure of the ceiling fan cannot withstand that, like the coils, the capacitors, or whatever other parameters are being given here, they cannot handle this high voltage than its corresponding rating. So eventually the whole appliances or whole fan will be damaged. Have you got the point? So these are actually generally, this rating as nameplate rating. We know this as nameplate rating. So this nameplate rating has to be given to the every appliances so that the consumer or the customer gets some idea that what is the maximum tolerance limit and how these appliances could be used its safer way. This is the simple policy. Okay. So if this nameplate rating were not given to you, then eventually there could have been a big confusions like what should be or where we should connect these appliances. Is it support that voltage? Is it support that frequency? So to avoid this complexity or avoid this confusion, a simple strategy from the manufacturer end, like if they can provide the safety limit or the operating point of this corresponding appliances, then it will be far more easier, far more easier for the consumer to properly use the appliances safely. So that is the purpose of mainly given this template rating with the appliances. So circuit breaker is also one kind of appliances. All right. So that means obviously, like I have given you some assignments like this, ACB, OCB, right? So whenever you do study, you will find that there will be some maximum voltage tolerance limit, maximum power handle capability of each of these type of circuit breaker. All right. So there is no universal circuit breaker that can be used in every voltage levels in the power system. What I'm trying to make you understand that with the difference between the voltage levels and power levels of the power system, the appliances of the circuit breaker will also have the variation in the rating, but that should be specifically indicated by the manufacturer when they actually produce some circuit breaker for the consumers to use in the power system. All right, like nameplate rating. So these nameplate ratings or these informations about the circuit breaker, necessary information about the circuit breaker that should be given to the appliances is generally known as technical particulars. All right, this is generally known as technical particulars of the circuit breaker. Technical particulars of the circuit breaker actually indicates that whenever a manufacturer actually produces a circuit breaker for the market, what are the necessary information that should be given upon to the circuit breaker, or simply vice versa. If you can, if you want to say it in prospect of consumer view, that what are the necessary technical ratings or technical specs that should be known by the user to use the circuit breaker properly matched with the power system, so that the circuit breaker which provides the safety of the power system remains safe itself. Understood? Have you got my point? Guys, have you got my
Yes,
point?
sir.
All right. So let's discuss this thing. So the first the first technical parameter, technical specs or technical particulars that should be known is types of medium of arc extension, like whether you want to air air, or you want to air oil, or you want to air SF6 gas, or whether you want to go for VCB. That should be very known to you in both ends. Okay. Then the rated voltage. This is very important because whenever you do this study here, you will definitely find out some limits for the voltage level, like ACB. ACB cannot be connected for more than 11 kV, I guess. All right. In some cases, it may be 33 kV, but 33 kV has general structure of ABCB. So for the case of ACB, I think generally 11 kV is the maximum tolerance limit. Now, for, for example, you want to protect your 32 kV transmission line. You want to protect the 132 kV transmission line by the circuit breaker, and you are selecting this ACB as a user. Will it be justified? Will it be okay? Can you use this circuit breaker? No, it cannot. Why is that? The answer is very simple. The maximum rated voltage for this type of ACB is 11 kV, or maybe in some cases up to 30 kV. But your 132 kV system is much higher rated voltage than these two rating, isn't it? So if you select this ACB for these cases, what will happen? That this ACB will be damaged by itself because of this over limit than its rating. Understood? Have you got my point?
Yes, sir.
So then the second necessity, the second point that should be taken into our mind is that the rated voltage should be known, or it should be given. Then rated breaking current. Though I will elaborately explain about breaking current, making current, those things, but breaking current, I can see you that the circuit breaker is closed like this. Okay. Now the circuit breaker, after the instruction from the relay, the circuit breaker is opening. The circuit breaker is opening. Okay. At this moment, the current that flows through the circuit breaker is generally known as breaking current. Or you can simply say the current at which the circuit breaker starts opening is actually known as breaking current. So obviously you need to have some idea about breaking current and associated breaking capacity. All right. That means whenever the circuit, you see, you already know that whenever the circuit breaker opens, electric arc is formed here. So that actually produces a very high heat here. Okay. The I square R, or the heat produced during the interruption of the fault, is used. So the contact of the circuit breaker also should have the capability of handling this kind of heat, which is actually produced by the rated breaking current. Okay. For example, just for example, the contact of the circuit breaker is designed to handle 100 ampere breaking current. All right. Now, in the power system, whenever the fault happens, the rated breaking current value is actually 300 ampere. So what will happen to the circuit breaker? You see, whenever you say that 100 ampere breaking current for a circuit breaker, that means the circuit breaker can actually withstand the heat produced during the fault interruption process, maximum related to this 100 ampere current. But whenever the 300 ampere current flows through it, then eventually that 300 ampere current produces more enormous heat than the 100 ampere, isn't it? So that heat cannot be handled by this contact of the circuit breaker. So result will be what? The contact of the circuit breaker itself will be damaged. So also you have to assess the power system whenever you try to select the circuit breaker, that what is the maximum breaking current that may flow under a bolt short circuit faulty conditions in the power system. And obviously the rating of the breaking current of the circuit breaker should be higher than the breaking current of the power system to make the circuit breaker safe. If opposite happens, then eventually you can consider that the circuit breaker will be damaged. It will not be safe. All right.
Yes, sir.
Have you got the point, guys?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question after this? Anybody? Do you have any question after this?
Sir, what is the difference between rating current and rating voltage?
Voltage is actually, obviously the breaking current is actually the current which is flowing during the fault condition, and rated voltage is the system voltage. All right. You know, power system has different kind of voltage. In transmission levels they have some different type of voltage, in distribution levels they have a different type of voltage, although in generation they have different type of voltage. All right.
Yes, sir.
So according to the difference between different type of voltage levels, obviously the selection of the circuit breaker should be according with that. Now, like this, for example, there is another example I can give you relevant to that. For example, this SFC is gas insulated circuit breaker. Okay, this can handle, for example, 232 kV. That means the maximum voltage that can be applied in this circuit breaker is 230 kV. All right. That means cannot it, that means we can use it in the lower level also. Can we? Obviously, if this is the 230 kV rated voltage, that means it can handle maximum 230 kV. Similarly, it also indicates that it can be easily incorporated in the lower system like 132 kV, or say 66 kV, or say 33 kV, or even say 11 kV. Even I can use a SSC circuit breaker to 11 kV also, but that will be some kind of stupidity of work. Why it is that? Because this SFC's gas insulator circuit breaker, which handles this 232 kV voltage, will generally have a very high price than the circuit breaker, which can, like ACB, which can handle up to 11 kV. There is a huge difference between the pricing of these two. Why it is that? Because of the limit. One can handle up to 230 kV. That means the device or the circuit breaker has to be strong enough. That means the materials and other associated cost will be much higher. The insulation capability of SFC's gas is much higher. The cost of this SFC's gas is higher than the normal atmospheric air. So assessing all these parameters, you will always find that a circuit breaker with higher rated will cost you more. But can I use it to the 11 kV system? Yes, I can. But that should not be viable. Why is that? Because you cannot put that kind of huge money just to protect your 11 kV system with SFC's gas. Whether you have a better option of choosing lower priced ACB. So there is always a term of being efficient and cost effective. You should not be always think about the efficiency of the system, as well as you have to also consider about the cost of the system. And it is often it's like that. The graph is like that whenever you try to get higher efficiency, the cost is more. Whenever you lower this cost, the efficiency decreases. So you have to find some optimum point at where both compromises. You can compromise some cost also, you can compromise in the efficiency also. All right. So being an engineer, always remember that efficiency doesn't always matter to you, or cost effectiveness doesn't always matter to you. Okay. You have to sacrifice those two parameters both to find optimum solutions to get a better result. All right. So you have to think about efficiency, you have to think about cost. Obviously, the efficiency or the performance of this SFC's gas insulated circuit breaker will be much qualityful or much higher than this ACB. But eventually that is also costing you more. Now you have to decide whether you want to cost this amount of money for the 11 kV or not. Understood? Logically, practically, this is not actually viable solution, because we have to think about our costing also. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So where were we? Yes, so this is one significant parameter for the selection of the circuit breaker. Don't forget that. Okay. You have to try to match the rating of the rated voltage system as well as the rated voltage of the circuit breaker itself. Okay. Understood? You have to be it should be matched to get a proper optimum result. All right.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question? Do you have any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, when we are matching, and it means line voltage and transformer rating, and also and as well as circuit breaker rating will be same.
Yes, at least voltage rating will be same, but other parameters also have to match. That's why the list of these technical particulars is used.
Okay, sir.
Any other else? Any other else? Anyone to make question? All right, give me 3-4 minutes. I'm coming. Okay, I will come and then discuss those things. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us continue. So there are also being other characteristics that you need to look forward, which are like TRV, which is called transient recovery voltage. We will study elaborately about this transient recovery voltage in the later classes. Also, their impacts on the fault clearing process, as well as how the power system, like high power factor system or low power factor system, the impact on the TRV. We will discuss those things. Then the make current, We will also discuss the making current or make current associated with breaking current. Then let's come to the topic. I will discuss these things. Okay, I will discuss those things. So then the types of operating mechanism. This actually indicates that this contact of the circuit breaker, it has to be opened or it has to be closed with some mechanism. This is the opening mechanism. This is called as the opening or closing operation mechanism, or the operating mechanism of the circuit breaker, whether it is spring open or spring closed. That means whether this contact is actually open through a spring, or is it closed through a spring, or solenoid open or spring closed. That means any solenoid mechanism or some associated spring is there. The pneumatic mechanism, hydraulic mechanism. That means whether some associated DC motors or other associated uh, mechanism that is present here. Normally, these are two integrated in the circuit breaker. Okay. Then types of construction. This is very vital. Whenever you study those things, again you will find that some of the circuit breaker is suitable for indoor type environment. Some of them are suitable for outdoor type environment. So depending upon the constructions, that where or which equipment you are actually protecting, whether it is located in indoor case or outdoor case, according to that specifications, you have to select the circuit breaker. Okay. So indoor type and outdoor type is also should be mentioned for the preferable circuit breaker. I can give you an example like this. Let's take an example of air circuit breaker. Or let's go. So air circuit breaker is generally suitable for outdoor type construction, because whenever you talk about air circuit breaker, that means normal atmospheric air is necessary there to extinguish the electric current. Now, if you choose, for example, you have a substation which is actually indoor type, and there you have a transformer. All right, you have a transformer, and you are actually trying to protecting this transformer to some circuit breaker. So if you select this air circuit breaker for this transformer, it will not be a wise selection. Why is that? Because whenever this is the indoor construction, that means the airflow in this construction will generally be poor than the outdoor constructions. Okay, in case of open field, open area, you will see some flow of air which naturally occurs. But whenever you go to some indoor places or covered places, you will experience less flow of atmospheric air. All right. Now again, take a closer look. SFC gas insulated circuit breaker. Especially this type of circuit breaker, the sulfur hexafluoride gas are used. The insulation capability of the sulfur hexafluoride gas is very high. It's very good insulation layer it can provide. But there is also some risky parameter over there. For example, it is like this, that it's placed under a container. The container is actually full of SFC gas, or it has some mechanism through which the SFC gas can pass through it. All right. So there is SFC gas. So the insulation capability of this SFC gas is high, very high, no doubt about that. But the problem is that by any chance, if any moisture element is added with this SFC gas, then the insulation capability deteriorates very quickly. So this is the advantage and disadvantage of this SFC gas. Okay, the evident advantage is that the insulation capability of this gas is very high. That means you can use it very efficiently. But as well as the problem is that if any kind of moisture element mixes up with this gas, the insulation capability of this gas reduces. All right. So there comes the risky parameters. Now, if you place this SFC gas insulated circuit breaker to the outdoor type constructions, what are the consequences? Like some atmospheric changes in the environment, weather, some kind of storm, There are lots of particles there. So if due to this impact of the weather, if any kind of leakage occurs due to this presence of this SF6 gas circular circuit breaker into open field or open area and the interactions of the weather impact, if any kind of leakage occurs, then obviously this circuit breaker will be very, very risky for it, because this leakage will cause you to add some moisture with this SF6 gas. All right. Understood? Are you getting my point, guys?
Yes, sir.
So that's why this SF6 gas insulated circuit breaker is generally ideal or generally suitable for indoor constructions where environmental impact is less. Because in indoor type constructions, generally we try to maintain a constant type of environmental impact. Okay. So you see, that means we can simply uh, summarize this discussions with like this. There's this air circuit breaker is suitable for outdoor type. This is for indoor type. Okay. Now, if I have any indoor type constructions of higher voltage rating, obviously I have to go for SCC gas insulated circuit breaker, because we know that this circuit breaker will perform better than others in indoor type constructions. Okay. But whenever you go and look for some kind of open air constructions where you are protecting through circuit breaker, then you have to select air circuit breaker or air blast circuit breaker or oil circuit breaker. Those circuit breaker who has less impacts on the environmental actions. Okay, understood? So that's why the manufacturer point of view or the user point of view, you have to also get some idea about the equipment or the appliances you are trying to protect using the circuit breaker is connected with the power system in indoor constructions or outdoor constructions. Okay, then select accordingly. You have options to do that. All right.
Yes, sir.
Anything? Any more questions from here? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Anybody, if you have any question, please come forward, ask the question so that I can clear it by answering those questions. Do you have any?
No, sir.
I guess no. Then the last thing, that is actually total break time. Total break time is time between fault occurrence and clearance of the fault. Okay, the time from fault occurrence to the fault clearance is actually known as total break time. You know that from fault occurrence to fault clearance, actually two components are work simultaneously. One is the relay, another is the circuit breaker. So relay actually does what? Relay actually does up to closing the trip circuit. After closing the trip circuit, the relay doesn't have any function. That means relay will occur from fault occurrence to up to closing the trip circuit. Okay, and after closing the trip circuit, then the circuit breaker opens, electric arc is formed. That electric arc has to be extinguished by the extinguisher of the circuit breaker itself. So those are actually related to circuit breaker time. So we can split this total break time into two types. One we can call it as one relay time. We can call it as circuit breaker time. All right. The relay time is simply, it is defined like this: from fault occurrence to up to closing the trip circuit is generally known as relay time, and from the closure of the trip circuit to the final arc interruption is generally known as the circuit breaker time. Okay, and together these two, you have the total break time, which indicates that the time required for the system to clear the fault after the fault occurs. All right. Have you got the point, guys?
Yes, sir. We have got it.
Do you have any question? Do you have any question?
No, sir.
If you have any question, please go forward and ask. Maybe this is the last slide I want to discuss with today. So if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I will end. We will continue the next lecture from the next class.
Maybe no, sir.